Okay, let's see how clean I've got that center shaft there, because hard to see with my eyes. So well, that looks like rust, doesn't it? Yeah, that looks it looks like there's pitting in there on the lower part of the so I can't clean that away. That's why it's not going away. It's not going to come off. But there's enough undisturbed, uncorroded. Oh my gosh! Listen to my poor cat. He's just screaming at me. Okay, Peanut, I'm coming. A little more, just a little more cleaning, and we're ready. Okay, man. Holy smokes! I'm getting the message. I'm getting the message loud and clear. Right? Right? Say something. He's just giving me the evil eye. I gotta go. Okay, so you put some things back together here. This always goes in this way up. You think of it like a cup holding the grease. It goes in this way. The grease that's in here is really fine. There's really no problem. So we're just going to drop it back in. Oh, forgot the washer. Take it back out. Drop in a clean washer. Gives it a nice smooth surface for the balls to roll on. This one isn't cleaned yet. Nothing too smooth about that. If any little bumping, it's going to show up in the speaker. Wow. I guess actually you can't imagine there'd be enough bumpage in here close to the shaft to cause a problem like that. Okay, this one goes on top. That's it for that. Now, we're just going to leave that as it is, flip this over, and pay attention to what's happening underneath. Here, whoops. And everything I just put on just flew off and headed for the floor. Did we lose everything? Well, not everything, but most of the stuff. So there you are. So don't put that on too soon. Don't put it on until you're ready. Okay, I'm going to put this greasy thing somewhere. Now, so lots of stuff here. What I do in these cases, I just look at where the grease was originally put, and that's where I'm aiming to put some new grease. Now, I WD'd this pretty heavily the other day, and it's loosened up everything here. Everything is maybe not there, maybe not yet. A little late in the game up here. An awfully big blob of stuff in here, right here. Look at that. Ugh. What is that little part? What is that? A little, I don't know, piece of debris it picked up at some point. Now, there are some parts that must not be oiled. There's another piece of this. You know what that is? I think it's a piece of styrofoam. A piece of styrofoam. Just get rid of some of the old stuff here. More styrofoam. So, grease and oil. Well, grease is good, of course, in places where the oil is just going to run away. And grease is good where you have plates sliding over each other a little bit. Like, see, there's a plate here sliding over. Ooh. That's the kind of stuff you want to grease. spot the pieces that maybe are not kept dry. Like this one looks like it's kept dry. See how loosey-goosey it is here? Like it's a very loose piece. So I'm not sure it needs lubrication. This might be a spot where you put a drop of oil and nothing more. Now there's different kinds of oil. There's basically two, synthetic and non-synthetic. Non-synthetic oil is kind of a living oil. It continues living and it deteriorates into this. If you put synthetic oil, it doesn't have a tendency to do this. So the grease I use is actually a silicone grease. Okay, I don't think I'm going to make much of an improvement from here. There's grease way down in here. Now, there's a mechanism here that lifts the tone arm up somewhere. I'm going to try to spot that mechanism. Okay, so you can see under here a push rod right here. It's controlled with this. I think it's also controlled from above. So we're looking for a piece of metal bent in a way like this that it becomes a ramp, just like this piece, that would push down on something, hey, like this piece, and cause the same piece to move in there. So when this big plate, let me turn it around this way. When this big plate is driven forward, as it will be by the big wheel that I'm going to put back on, the raceway wheel, this ramp will push down on that, and that'll cause the tone arm to lift. And then as that thing turns further, it's by pushing that roller wheel around, it will move the tone arm. And then this piece will relax, and the tone arm will come back. Well, will come down to the record. That's the concept here. So this is often a spot where many record players really get stuck. This ramping thing, you can get a build-up underneath here of dried up lubrication. The whole thing can become really sticky. And it just won't push past. Again, you're thinking about it from a lever point of view, and the drive is coming from that wheel we can't see that's up in here, and you're trying to swing a lever way over here. You can imagine it takes quite a bit of power here to move this lever over. Evidence of trouble, and record players having trouble with these things, is as it goes through its routine. And it picks first it picks it up, and as it starts to move it, if the record player begins to stall, you know it hasn't got the power to push all these parts anymore. Okay, now just see how free things are, but you know, I'm moving these things, I'm moving mechanisms, I'm not exactly sure what all's on the move here, so I don't want to move it too much. So any resistance pushing back, I don't push past it. Just wiggling them and seeing what moves and what doesn't move. Okay, I think it's all a question of just getting the silicone. Directions: to remove any loose dirt or rust from part, apply ultra slick to surface of part A. A small amount is usually sufficient. Reapply as needed for consistent performance. Oh, that's that's a pretty non-statement, isn't it? Okay, so we just throw a little on, like it says, here and there. Places that I saw, sometimes even these spring pieces get a touch of lubrication. Can I overdo it here? Well, only if I lubricate something that really should not be lubricated. And usually it's these loose pieces of metal, pieces of loose arms. See how loose that is? You know, what good is lubrication going to do on that? These things get stuck a lot. I don't see any lubrication on it. This part's plastic. So no lubrication. Seems to move nice. So we'll leave it as it is. Get some in there. I need a better applicator than my fat finger here. I've discovered using brushes for oil and this kind of stuff is great. Where did I want to put that? Right up in here. I'm just mimicking where I can see grease before. Why? I don't know exactly why it's there. I think it needs to be under here. That's why it's there. Feel sticky. Is that mine? Am I cleaning off my stuff? I think I did. Here. So here's another piece of metal. It's very loose. It's not in direct contact with the surface here, so you can't get that glue effect. Do you want to stick oil on that or lubrication? It's moving very, very nicely. There's a ball bearing right there. It's a ball bearing. Wow, pretty close to falling out. Hit the ball bearing a little bit. Last place is up in here. So this piece, one of these pieces, is going to push hard up in the center here to make the record dropping mechanism work. So no doubt some lubrication would help. But again, I think in this case the leverage is so strong that I think we'll just stick some up there. Stick a little. Whoops! Stick a little there. Well, I think that's about it. What about this piece over here? So this is working the wheel, so what is sometimes called the idler wheel, but really it's called the intermediate wheel, since it's intermediate between the plater and the motor. This piece, again, the metal's not really, it's just a loosey-goosey piece of metal. Right here it's pushing the on-off switch. So often these have trouble. The switch is broken, or the lever doesn't move quite far enough to operate the switch. So I don't know, is that on? That's probably on. I don't know. And stop. That's stop, so you can see the switch come out. So maybe the switch won't come out far enough. This one's all plastic, most of them are. Don't shoot oil in there. Okay, now we got to switch our attention to the motor itself. So first of all, I've already checked the motor turns nicely. It's free, it's nothing wrong with it. When the record player is sitting in its proper position, the rotor weight is just trying to get the dust off it here. Is pressing on this lower bearing. The lower bearing is carefully and specially done, and the reason is the same thing. If this bearing is in any way noisy, what's going to conduct the noise right up into the needle and out your speakers. These are self-adjusting, so you can take out the screws pretty willy-nilly. If you're lucky, there's, like I am, there's no nut on the bottom. It's going into a threaded piece. Hopefully the whole motor won't fall apart here. Is that out? Why is it still hanging on? So is there a nut under that one? And there's a nut under there. Oh boy, it looks like they've put a porthole in the panel for it. Let's see if that's what that is. Oh, I lost track. We're dealing with this hole. You can kind of get at the nut there on an angle. So this is a little difficult in a sense, doing this part. Because when I take this out, the nut is going to be a little tricky to get back in, but I know from experience sooner or later I'll get it back in there. I got to freeze the nut. Throw the screwdriver. Out you come. And the nut's probably just going to fall down here. Oh, that's held in there. There's the nut. The nut is non-magnetic. The screw is magnetic, but the nut is not. What did they make this out of? Stainless steel, maybe. Stainless steel is not magnetic, is it? A little wee bit. I'll bet you it's stainless steel. Okay, we'll put this where I'm sure to lose it. Over here with the other parts I'm losing. Now we'll take the bearing off. Just lift it straight up. So we'll check to see how stiff the bearing is. Put a little screwdriver in there. Just move it left and right, and there's a kind of like a ball fitting in there that should move. This is moving. Don't see any evidence of lubrication or anything in there. I'm going to throw a little grease. I think I'm going to throw some grease in there. I guess you could put oil. Oil might be better. Oil might be better. So we're going to put some oil in there. To get the oil, motor oil. Hey, working on a motor. Just one little drop. And we'll work the self-adjusting bushing around a little bit. Now it's as loose as can be in there. Too much oil. Okay, that's all there is to it. It's like, luckily it's identical in either direction. There's nothing to do there except fit this in there. So if this is really hard to see, but there's a close-up camera to make it easier to see. Let's look at the very top of that. Doesn't it look like it's a different kind of metal that's been impressed or attached to the shaft? Now that could be the case. They may have put some very hard thing there. Does it look flattened? It does look a little flattened, eh? So I've never examined one of these before in any kind of careful way. It really does look like a special top is on it. And I've noticed this almost every time I look at one of these. It just never really got in there close. Well, it looks like it's probably a wear mark on the top. I think it's supposed to be like a round ball, a round surface, so the tiniest amount of contact is taking place. But you can imagine, tiny contact's going to wear down. And you can see here too, the motor's been balanced. You can see the drill marks. It's been balanced out. Numbers all around it for some reason. Okay. So we'll just put this guy back together. It just seems so dry in there. Did I soak all the oil out? How could I have? Okay, just to make me feel better, I'm going to just put a little dab of grease in there. Oh, I feel a lot better now. Oh. Wrong top. Okay, stick it back together. There's little collars here, so it's really quite a precise fit. You don't have to be scared of taking this off and then, oh, I can't get it exactly on again. Now, there should be two screws. Yeah, there's one here. So this, I think, is going down not into a nut. Lucky me. Okay, I won't tighten it all the way though. Just put it in. Now the challenging one. I get the nut from the lost and found department here. Is my little finger going to do it? Ooh, there's something else there. The motor jumping like this. Maybe more to do with this motor. Okay, I'm going to take a shot holding this underneath there. My first attempt, my first failed attempt. Yeah, it's failing. Okay, what about, can I get my finger up through this hole and hold a nut on the top of it? So what's happened here is I've spent about a good half hour trying to get the nut onto the end of that screw to the point where, excuse me, frustration a little too high. So I've been off doing other things. I thought, okay, let's give it another run. I didn't bother turning the camera on, shame on me. And because I thought it'd be another 20 minutes, half an hour of frustration just trying to put the nut on the end of the screw. But I actually picked it up, put it through the hole here, turned my screwdriver. Oh, man. Yeah, turned the screwdriver and presto, the nut went on. So now it's just a question of tightening it up and not smashing the record player. Tighten it up. Just make sure the rotor rotates. With a motor like this, the rotor is sitting in the wrong physical position. It really needs to be up like this. And now we're going to start working, going to get back to working on the top here. Like that. So we're going to do the top bushing on the motor. And I think we're going to put the close-up camera on it because I think this is really, there's something going on with the shaft. Oh, for crying out loud. Okay, here's a close-up look at the spindle here. Interesting. Well, there's nothing seriously wrong here at all, but it is a little more beat up than I'm used to seeing. So it's a 3 speeds, 16 knot here, so it must be 33, 45, and 78. So you see how they got the extra dimension onto the shaft here, so they can make a smaller shaft down into the motor and that. They use this to expand it. I'm not sure I've ever seen that before. So if you don't play 78s, the wheel's never going to run on that. You know, the wheel, here's the wheel. The wheel's going to run on, most likely, it's going to run on the slow speed, the 33, up here. You spend most of its time here. This is 45s, so it looks like the wheel was running here. Now, is that a buildup of stuff, or is that a loss of the looks like a buildup to me. Yeah, that's going to come right off just with a little bit of cleaning. And of course, you don't want to get this oiled up, but that's not going to work very well. What about my little brass brush? Do that. Like a self-cleaning thing here. This is actually a pretty clumsy way of doing this. top part, the part it's really going to be running on. Looks fine. You can hear that rotor landing in the bottom bearing. Okay, I'm going to just stick a little wee dab of oil right where the shaft, you can, if you're not sure where it goes, you spin the shaft and look at what spins and what doesn't, and then you know where we got to stick a little bit of oil way down there. I don't want to use too much, so I'm going to use the paintbrush. Where's that paintbrush? Here it is. That's fine. Yeah, motor spins good. Good. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the intermediate wheel, but I've got to clean up here a little bit. I want to handle it with oily fingers. Okay, now we're going to try to judge the surface of this guy here. So first of all, it doesn't look very shiny to me, which is good. I'm going to get my hands up here so the camera will focus. Come on, camera. Well, it's okay, even if it's a little out of focus. So it doesn't look very shiny at all. Looks pretty dirty is what it looks. Okay, so now we'll check for flexibility. So just the overall rubber itself, pretty stiff. This one's pretty stiff. Ooh, this is very stiff. So I'm using my fingernail, my great sensory system here. Just hitting it with the fingernail, going like that, just trying to bend it. It's stiff. It's supposed to be that stiff. How about out towards the outer edge? That's moving. Okay, well, it's not completely stiff. It's not stiff out here where it counts. It's pretty stiff back in here. Maybe that's how it's made. Okay, and then the actual running surface again with my nail. So does my nail slide over it or does it grip it? It's gripping it. So that suggests there's really nothing to do here except put it back together. So let's do that. And if I find out the next step or two that it does need a treatment, let me just take it back off. Okay. There we go. Just going to leave it like that. So now what I can do is I can push the wheel. Oh, look at it. Put this in the start mode here. So the wheel's in contact now. I'm going to block the motor, turn the wheel, feel the grip. Feel the grip. That doesn't feel like very much. And this is tricky because there's how hard are you pushing it against there. Yeah. It's definitely grip. When the record is in, the wheel is pushed over this way. I think it stretches the string slightly, so it's a little more pressure over here. Well, not much. Not much more. Some more. Well, we'll do the final test with the platter back on it. I think that's probably the best thing to do. In the meantime, I'm going to put it right on. Because the sooner I get this clip on, the sooner I'm less likely to lose the clip. Now, the way I do this is my way of doing it. I don't know. I'm sure there's better ways to get the clip right on. This is a bit of a risky way. You really need to get things centered up properly. The problem here is the clip goes flying. It may take you a long time to find it. There we go. need to put the washer's gone. And then we need the top washer. Okay, let's grease this right away. Grease go anywhere good here? Not really. Okay, I have to find the washer. Until then, I can go no further. Oh my gosh. My kingdom for a washer. The hunt for the washer is going so well, I've expanded the search to include the lid for this. Wow, it's a really good thing I expanded the search to include this, because this was fairly easy to spot. I just looked here, looked down below there, and this was sitting right here. Look right here. Found the washer. I know everybody who's got a shop has a million stories like that. Okay, we're back in business here. That means we're in business. Cat fur. Okay, now we can put the put this on. Okay. Now we can drop the platter on. There's really no need to have any kind of lubrication right on this surface. It shouldn't really be sliding. Wouldn't hurt though. Okay, now what about inside there? Oh yeah, I gotta clean inside there. Okay, I'm gonna just take care of that and then be right back. So I just pulled an alcohol-soaked paper towel through it, and you can see what came out of it right away. All that stuff. Looks nice and clean inside. Drop it on. Just trying to think, am I forgetting something? Down she goes, lovely. Shouldn't that wheel be in contact? This may have been kind of over. Doesn't seem to move as free as it should, you know. That should really just kind of go right where it should go, not hang around in different positions. Let's take a look at that. It's got a screw adjustment here, which I'm pretty sure is the height of the wheel to adjust it to match the rotor, which we didn't even look at. just going to shoot a touch of WD-40 right in here. Don't want to get it on the wheel. That's off just a little tiny bit. That's made all the difference already. Okay, I think we're better off now. Yeah. When I put this on, I have the same problem. The wheel is actually going to interfere. I have to pump the wheel and push the wheel in a bit in order to get it on. Okay, so I'm just looking for the wheel. There we go. You can actually spin this and it'll pull the wheel under. And it should turn one way fairly freely, the other way it should be like a brake. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. Okay, it's passing all the basic tests now. And we're ready to play this guy. That'd be the first time. Okay, so I've made a temporary power connection to the white plug that's under there. I think I got it right, but maybe I didn't. So we're going to power this up through a couple of safety things here, a little bit of overkill. I'm going to run the power to the machine through a light bulb. If I've hooked up the wires wrong, or if I flipped it over, the wires shorted, I don't know. If there is, this light will come on full blast. I won't pop any circuit breakers or anything like that. And we'll know. But what should happen is nothing should happen. This light should not come on. Here we go. Now this could be ready to run. It could be in sort of a, I'm not finished yet. Well, we can find out. Let's find out. Okay, so that would trigger the mechanism if the mechanism was there to be triggered. So it's not. Okay, it's on 33. It's in the start position. Better off there. Spins both ways. So when you put this turntable into stop, that intermediate wheel falls away from the spindle, which is most important, and the rim on the inside here. So the pressure comes off. So you never want to kind of leave your record player in the start position, because in that case, you know, the intermediate wheel is pressed up against the spindle. You leave it like that for 6 months. Time for a new wheel. Okay. Power on. Okay, so we got no action on the light. 117 volts coming here. Just through an isolation transformer too. So just in case somehow I've livened up the deck here by accident, I'm still safe. Okay. The lock is off. We should flip this up. So it'll make the record player think there's a record being dropped, and it'll advance and try to play it. There's no needle to worry about here. Okay, here we go. First time in how many years? Who knows? It's very slow. Very, very slow. But steady. Let's try another speed here. Maybe if we just do this one slow. That's not very good at all. Well, that's disappointing, because that barely looks like 33. I wonder what happened. So, slow platter. The motor's no good. Slippage. If there's slippage, when I drag my finger on here, the thing's going to stop. Well, it's not really stopping. That's a pretty good drag I've got on it. Yeah, it's slowing down, but it's still pushing. Slow the motor down, the motor pushes harder. Why so slow? Oh, it could be because there's only 96 volts on it, because I still have the light bulb in the circuit. Hey, there's a smart. I'm so smart. Sometimes I'm stunned. Yeah. Okay, now we're going 45 for sure. Okay, that horror story's over. Should only change the speed on these guys while the record player's turning, while the clatter's turning. It's got a high spot in there. Okay, auto. Do your thing. Come on. You can do it. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Okay, so Okay, we'll just give it a little help at this point. Ooh, it needs a lot of help through there, but it just be first time around. Okay, gonna play big record. Okay, playing the record. Record. Playing, coming to an end. The velocity thing has picked it up. Speed staying up. Oh, slowing down right here. Isn't this is where it lifts up and drops the arm? Is that what it's doing? Is that where it's having trouble? Okay, so it thinks that another record got dropped because the overarm is out here. Let's let it go through again. Only this time I'm going to pretend it's in the middle of a record. Oh, gotta go. Yeah, so it would strike me that has something to do with the elevating that. Now, one possibility is it's trying to push it up higher than it. Oh no, it can go way up to here. Let's do this. Let's activate it. And I'm going to hold this way up high. Watch this thing. Can you see that? Oh my gosh. Oh, I put my hand on the platter. That's smart. If it's hitting a limit, the limit is not from this. This can go way up into this can go all the way up. So if this thing is coming up and somehow, what's more likely? It's more likely it's some kind of lubrication thing. So another way to lift this arm is with this guy. Well, that's as easy as can be. Okay, so what is it? So what we'll do is, oh, don't spin this gem. Okay, I've got the power wires just clipped on and they're not done very well. So let's put the brake on this. Put the brake on it. Where might brake go? It's not a brake. It must have took off with that washer. There he is. He's hiding out of sight back here. Oh, that's right. My solder does double duty. Camera looking at the key mechanism here. Okay, just give it a bit of focus. Put a little light on the deal. So the ramp part we were looking at before is right up here. My screwdriver's pointing at it basically, right there. That's the ramp part. That's where I think it's having trouble. So, okay, we're going to put it on auto. Oh, I can do that, man. Do you see anything moving there? No, the part that's moving is out of sight. It's up above that ramp where you can't see it. Okay, here we go. Automatic. So it lifted it up. It's having trouble right now. Right here. Right, this is the spot. So I'm going to cut the power. Okay. What spot is this? What is the deal on this spot? So it just is wiggling the platter a bit there. It really doesn't want to move. This is the tone arm. You know, it's loose and everything. Nothing to do with any of that. That's the overarm coming down, which I think I need to oil a bit. Okay, well, we're not seeing it here. Let's try here. Okay, power on, and I'm gonna help it. Oh, there it goes on its own. Oh, is it that black wheel? No, that black wheel turns real easy. Where's the black wheel? There it is. I think it just turns as easy as can be. Oh. Is it supposed to turn? There's nothing easy about that. Okay, that's probably the guy. That is probably the guy. Power off. And lock. This guy. That's the kind of thing I would tend to stay away from oiling, but it's not, it just doesn't seem to be doing anything except going around. What would that possibly be for? It's just a thing. Some other part comes up and gets caught in it? I don't think so. Okay, well this seems to be the part that's stalling the works. Power's off right now while I'm doing this. Okay, I think I succeeded. Let me look for interference here. Oh, one wire came off. This is a terrible cord. What I did was I just traced the wires where they go to the motor through the switch. This isn't going to last, is it? Interference. There we go. Lock. Over. Power through the light bulb again. Good. And then full power. Okay, let's try it again. Made it past. It's a little better, because I don't know if that's really the piece. I oiled it, I never spun it. I never spun it around, did I? So maybe this is the spinning of it here. So every time we do it, it'll get a little better. Now let me check it. Oh my gosh, it's the actual bottom of this. Oh, so I know what that is. So oftentimes they arrange things with these so that when the tone arm is engaged with the mechanism, it's engaged in such a way that there's a slip clutch protecting everything. So while it's the tone arm's coming back, for some reason you decide to reach over here and you block the tone arm so the motor doesn't tear everything apart. Instead, slip clutch will slip. And I guess then it either doesn't matter after it slips, or because it's geared and it has teeth, maybe it just, as long as it gets back a little bit, it'll reset itself or something. That's what that is. So that's, I really shouldn't have oiled it, but it still has the slip clutchy feel to it. So that really can't be the problem, because we shouldn't be slipping the clutch unless something is done wrong. Whoops, here, I think it's going again. Right there. Power off. It's going to flip it right over, but the platter will come off. put the clip in, and I have the hassle of getting it out of there again. What clip? Yeah, I think there was a ring clip in there. Oh well, not have to worry about that right now. But we're not going to flip it over. Just tip it back. Wait a minute, power's off. Yeah. Yep, 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 yep. Okay. Now I can be the motor. I can be the motor. So we're going to pull this off. Pull these out just to be sure. I will be the motor. All I got to do to make the mechanism operate is spin the platter. Okay, we'll engage it. There's a whole bunch in here I didn't lubricate. Okay, spinning, engaging. There we go. Now, mechanism starting. I can feel with my finger, what kind of work is required. It's nothing much now. That just got reset. Spring here tightening up. Oh, it's getting harder. It's definitely getting harder at this point. What is it? I can't turn this backwards. Can't run the mechanism backwards. Okay, keep going forwards. So it's right when this is maxing out. Okay, let's take it back to the neutral point. There. Okay, bladder's free. I can't force this over to feel it. So what all's happening? So this thing's moving up in here. Some kind of a springy thing here. Is that what it reaches here and that's what stalls it? Okay, here we go again. Oh, bladder almost fell off. This is on. Oh, is that? So that's the kind of thing that the makers protect the machine from. Stupid things like this, keeping the lock on and then asking the machine to move the tone arm. So that shouldn't hurt anything. Is it caught in a mode? Did I just break it? What happened? What did I do to it? Kind of had it laying on this mechanism. Maybe that was all it took. That's off. On and engage. Maybe this little guy just can't work on this angle. Shake it back into shape. Okay, did I break the whole thing? What happened? I really couldn't have. Really tight right in that one spot, and that's typical. All these machines get tight in that same sort of area, I find. Let's look at it again. Right in here. There it is. I can see this this has got no power. This is kind of reaching the end of its run. Pretty tight there. You see I'm moving the platter. You can see this advance slightly. So just right at the end of that run, it just gets really sticky. Right in that. So maybe some kind of junk in there. Is that spring part? Spring? I'm doing this looking at a camera, so it's a little tough. It's totally counterintuitive. There. I gotta look straight at it. It's definitely able to move. It's just a washer on a shaft with a spring pushing on it. Seems to come right up in this area and stick. Is it because there's sticky goo there? Can't imagine that. Okay, here I'm going to advancing the wheel. Okay, that click is where everything kind of releases. Or that's the moment of release. So I'm going to hit the restart. Fairly easy. What's going on up above? Everything's okay. Everything's easy. The little wheel thing is turning. So when this black wheel, where'd it go? This thing is being engaged. It's swinging the arm. The arm swings as easy as can be. You know, it didn't feel very tight that time. That did not feel very tight. So the arm swings on a different pivot than that mechanism, that black wheel. Okay, let's go again. There's something interesting. Remember I said this piece is part of the pusher mechanism that pushes something that engages with that center gear. When I push the auto, and do I have enough hands to do this? Maybe not. When I watch it out of focus. When I push this automatic switch, watch what it does. See it jam that thing forward? And so it's pushing it to engage it in the wheel and start the mechanism on its one revolution. Okay, here goes the mechanism. Okay, moving the tone arm. Getting tighter, getting tighter. That was not that bad. You know what? That was not that bad. So here's an idea. Let's put this back up. There's always an idea. Good thing there's no needle in this, or well, there wouldn't be. There wouldn't be up to this point. Okay, I think we're in the clear again. This is disengaged. I want to put this power cord back on there. Ah. Patience is running thin here. Doing this too long today. Okay, power's off. Again, clips remained. Lock off, arm up, power on. Oh, full power, full power, full power. There we go. Here we go. I'm watching for any hesitation here. Whoa, that's a new hesitation, wasn't it? Okay, so one trick we can do here, put it on 45. Let her rip. It's much faster. They didn't even see it, did you? Didn't even see the slowdown. So some of that is platter momentum, and some of it I think is exercising the mechanism here. Yeah, you want to see it go ridiculous? Let's go ridiculous. Okay, I'll go down, rate to 33. Okay, man, can you do it? With gusto. Just so close. So could that be lack of traction? Something is slipping. So the motor's spinning against the intermediate wheel, or the intermediate wheel skidding on the inside of this. Sure could be. Yeah, you know, this is not enough traction. So the problem is where? Where is the problem? Well, I gotta guess the intermediate wheel is coming to a stop, and the motor's grinding against it. There's really no way to see that. Okay, but in either case, whether it's slipping on the rim, the inside rim, or slipping on the spindle, the solution's the same.